Hi, this is Warren Bubb from the Keith Andrew Show, and I just wanted to let you know this is a great show, and it's a great tool for anybody on podcasting. And Keith's a great guy, and I think you should definitely watch. And thanks for having me, Keith.
Hi, this is Bob Tourangeau, SAG-AFTRA eligible actor here in Connecticut, and I was just interviewed by Keith Andrew and the Keith Andrew Network. He did a wonderful job. I felt very comfortable speaking with Keith, and he was very friendly and welcoming, and I would recommend him to anyone.
The whole point of my talk show is to show you that even with having a learning disability, I can still amount to something. And at the same time, I'm able to turn myself into an example for people out there dealing with any types of learning disabilities and disabilities to never give up and prove people wrong. Prove to them that labels do not dictate who you are and who you're going to be, so prove them you can still amount to something. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Keith Andrew, and welcome to the Keith Andrew Network. It is 1,073. That is right, 1,073 episodes available on LinkedIn, YouTube, and all social medias. If you're watching and you have questions for our guests, make sure to leave a comment below because they would like to interact with it, and I would like to expand the interaction with the Keith Andrew Network. As you know, today is Monday, and what's that mean? Today at 8 o'clock, actually same time actually. Oh, sorry about that. I put my phone on silent. 8 o'clock on Mondays, you know what that means? You're watching WWE Monday Night Raw. If you're on the East Coast and have Optimum Channel 38, you can watch WWE Monday Night Raw. Also, the following is brought to you by the Keith Andrew Network. Show people with a learning disability or any disabilities that you have, and never give up and prove people wrong. Prove to them that labels do not dictate who you are and who you're going to be, so prove to them and stem out to something. That being said, we have two great actors here exclusively on the Keith Andrew Network. So we're here with great two actors. Warren, we're going to start off with you. I was looking at your resume, and you did some great shows. You were on Orange is the New Black. You were on Limitless. You were on Gotham and FBI. So the first question I want to ask you is, who inspired you to become an actor?
It's a long story, but I'll make it as short as I can. I always wanted to get into it when I was younger, but not knowing anything, and like everybody else, you kind of are a little afraid in the beginning to doing it. I basically lived my life first before I did this, meaning establishing, getting a job to pay my bills and stuff like that. And then I started doing modeling work when I was much younger and thinner and better looking than I am now. And I did that for a little while. Did a little bit of runways, some ads, stuff like that. And then I did a couple of small commercials through that agency at the time. And I wasn't ready. I wasn't mature enough, and I wasn't ready to do it. I was in my early 20s. Took a break for a number of years, and then a friend of mine got me back into it, probably about almost 20 years ago. And I coached football for a long period of time. I was very much into coaching football. I coached in Pop Warner. I coached in high school. I worked for the NFL for youth camps, and I've always been in front of people, talking in front of people. So the more and more I did it, the more and more I got comfortable with it. And I caught a break through a friend of mine, and here I am.
No, absolutely. Bob, the same question for you. What attracted you to begin your career?
Similar long story, but I'll try and make it short as well. Kind of different, actually. I don't know that I remember ever really having the inclination to want to be an actor. I remember in the 6th grade having a one-line part in a medieval fair presentation and being extremely nervous. But I do remember with my best friend, Jim, we used to write scenarios in our heads and act them out in the basement. outside in the backyard and pretend we were Captain Kirk beaming onto a strange planet and things of that sort. So I had a pretty active imagination, probably taking after my father, who did magic at birthday parties, and my mother, who had no hesitation to clog and dance to songs when she felt in the mood. But in school, I was very shy. I never wanted to participate on stage. I certainly didn't want to speak as myself, and never thought that acting would be a thing for me. Although we did a magazine in school. I think it was sophomore year in high school, and the advisor wanted to do a film, an 8mm film, and I was really interested in that. We never ended up doing it because she had to take a leave of absence. And it wasn't until I was about 27, and after I had married and moved to New Hampshire, that I got coerced into doing 2 small parts in Wind in the Willows and found out I really loved it. And did a lead in a single one act the following year, and then helped my wife produce a variety show in which I sang in public for the first time, and had to take about 9 years off because I started working in my career job in the post office, and then went back and auditioned for The Pajama Gate, my first musical. And I was so nervous, my voice was shaking like I was on a bumpy bus. And they gave me one line solo in the opening number, and I was hooked. And I've done like over 50 performances ever since while I was working my full-time day job. And then when I retired, and after my wife had passed about 7 years ago, I decided to start taking film acting classes and getting headshots and get my resume in order, and just went on from there, learning the business. I'm still learning the business.
Absolutely. And now the next question I want to ask you is, as we'll recall last we talked about special effects on the screen, how has the pandemic impacted your lives, and do you see things from a different point of view? And Bob, we're going to start off with you. Okay.
Well, as far as the pandemic goes, I was just off and running, working, taking master classes, at the time living in New Hampshire and going down to Newburyport, 2-hour drive for a 3-hour master class and back again. And I was having a ball once a month doing that, and starting to get involved in, background, at least, in films and 48-hour film projects. And then got fitted for background for Julia, big HBO series, and then everything shut down. Luckily, a few months later, they started up again, and I got my background part. We did. I was in a play. We performed outdoors. It was an adapted version of Macbeth in my hometown in New Hampshire. So I kept active that way. We used some safety protocols and filmed a short, well, actually about 40 minutes, I think, science fiction film in a constructed set, and that went well. And knock on wood, I haven't contracted COVID to this date, and I'm hoping not planning to. So that's my story.
Absolutely. What about you?
I was actually working at the time when COVID hit. I was doing an off-Broadway play with Len Cariou, Craig Bierko, and David Lansbury, and we were doing very well. I was also in this business. It's very hot and cold, which Bob can attest to. There's stretches where you're just busy like crazy, and I was in one of those stretches where I booked FBI, I booked Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. I was booking stuff left and right. I was getting lucky, and you have to be lucky in this business as well as being talented, but you need to be more lucky than anything else. And I was doing very well, and COVID hit. I'll never forget. It was March 14th, I think we were told. And then they started giving out masks to the audience. We had to wear masks until we kept on stage. And then obviously like a week later, we shut down. And then I contracted COVID from that show. Because, after the show's over, you go out there, people taking pictures, autographs, all that stuff, and which I'm fine with. It's part of the job. I love doing it. And, if people come to see you, you want to reciprocate the best you can. Something I learned early on. And obviously I must have got it from there. And I had it bad. I had it really bad, and I almost had to go to the hospital. But I wasn't going to go to the hospital because at that time, if you both remember, if you went to the hospital, it pretty much was game over. So I wasn't going to do that. So I said, if it's going to happen, it's going to happen in my house. And God willing, I got through it. I've had it 3 other times since. I just got over another case of it about a month ago. But COVID changed the business a lot. Some good, some bad. But you have to learn to adjust in this business. Everything in this business, nothing ever stays the same in this business. It always moves around and rotates, and you have to basically go with the flow, so to speak. But that's about it.
No, absolutely. Don't mind me. I'm just trying to have fun. Because if you look, it looks like I'm gonna actually hand you water. But I do.
Thank you.
I'm still trying to get out of my fishbowl here.
But not to make sorry, I'm gonna lose my voice. Not to make light of the situation. My brother went to Alaska in 2020, and he came back and he was sick. My dad was sick. I was sick, and at the time I was working at Walmart. Nice place. They have nice things. No, I don't have anything bad to say about it. I mean, it depends on who you're working with. But I at the time they say I had the coronavirus, but I can't even speak. Holy shit! When I got sick, I was sick for 2 weeks. I went to urgent care. I couldn't stop throwing up, and I'm like, okay, let's test you. And it didn't mind you in 2020, they weren't testing you for the coronavirus. So they tested me, like, yeah, you have flu A. I'm like, what's the difference? Flu A, flu B, you have the flu. Oh, and on top of that, you have a stomach virus. Well, that explains the vomiting. So I had a stomach virus and the flu, but everyone else was convinced it was COVID. But again, 3 years ago, they weren't tested, so it might have been COVID. But at least I got an interesting ride in an ambulance. They said, we're closing now in urgent care. We're closing. Do you want to come back tomorrow or take the ambulance? I'm like, I want the ambulance. I can't tell you, I got freaking motion sickness because I was looking out the back window. We're like over here, then we're over there. It's like, and you say I'm drunk. At the time I was done in the back of the ambulance, my hand was shaking. And I was like, yeah, the guy's obviously coming a little too close to the ambulance. Hopefully he stops. But, with all jokes aside, and I got it recently too. It's all that matters is, get vaccinated, stay healthy, take your vitamins, don't eat shit. I don't know why you would actually want to eat shit, but just, and like I said, freedom of speech, you say anything you want. Just take care of yourself. And people didn't take it seriously. We could have got, if you remember the bird flu back in 2013, was it, I guess? That could have been what we're dealing with now, but we walked out. But you can miss so many home runs to hit a home run, but unfortunately you really don't know what you're hitting. So it could be a good thing, could be a bad thing. You can dodge so many things until you get whacked in the face, and that's pretty much what the coronavirus was.
I'm always telling people that with my allergies, my post-nasal drip, I have coronavirus symptoms every day of my life, and if I ever got COVID, I probably wouldn't know it for a couple of days till it got really bad. But any time that I did feel worse than normal, I would test, and it would always be negative. So, to the best of my knowledge, I've never gotten it yet. So,
hopefully you don't. Hopefully
not. Knock on wood again.
Knock on wood. So the next question, the next subject actually I want to talk to you about is social media. As you see on the bottom of the screen, it's really cool. It's a little divider that goes around Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I don't think it has YouTube, but there's 4 of them, so it's hard to keep count. So I'm gonna, instead of butchering your names, I'm just gonna point at you guys. So we're going to start this way. My main man over here. So my question I want to ask you is social media. Can social media make you or break you with everything that you accomplish in your careers? Has it given you opportunities, or has it kind of, not if you sneeze the wrong way, it can bite you?
I think as an actor, social media, social media is necessary in the world that we live in today. I'm on Facebook, Instagram. What else am I on? I think
Get a TikTok.
No, I'm not on TikTok. I'm not on TikTok. YouTube,
LinkedIn,
Snapchat, LinkedIn. Yeah, those things I'm on. As an actor, for your career, yes, it is helpful. You have to be very careful, especially as an actor, what you put on your social media. One thing, advice I'll give to anybody that's watching is that if you're in any kind of the entertainment field, it's very important not to put your political, religious views, like, what we always told as kids, never get into a discussion between politics and religion, because it's always going to get into some kind of an argument. And I agree with that. I don't think it's the place for it. That's just my personal opinion. It's just other people use it as a platform for them, and that's fine. My platform for me is to, if you look at any of my social media, basically the stuff I put out there is stuff that I'm doing, with my work professionally, or stuff with my family, or sports stuff. That's about it. I don't get into deep discussion with people about things that are going on in the world. I don't, I have no ill will towards anyone that discusses that stuff, but my opinion, and I've spoken to a lot of people, my manager, my agent, they've said, stay off social media and don't get involved with what's going on. And I agree with that, because believe it or not, and I know this for a fact, because I also produce, I also direct, they look at that. Yeah. They'll look at that and see, what type of person you are, because a lot of people in social media, they see one post and they just pinhole you as that, who you are as that person who makes that one comment. And that could really hurt you, because people are watching to see, but if you're left or right or whatever, and I post something opposite of whatever you are, and that person's looking to hire somebody, or you're in the running for something, they look at your social media. I know that for a fact, they do. Also for independent films, they'll see how many followers you have. And okay, does he have a good following? Could he bring people in to watch the show, or to watch the movie or rent the movie, whatever project you're doing. So I think social media is very important as an actor, but it's got to be used very carefully as a tool for your career, because if you use it wrong, it could definitely hurt your career.
No, I agree. Yep. What about you?
Yeah, I feel the same way. Exactly. Right now, I'm just on Facebook, Instagram. Facebook is my, combination acting and family platform. Instagram, I stick strictly to acting. Unless it's family related. I mean, I have a great niece who, danced the lead in the Nutcracker, and so picture of me standing with her outside of her performances there. Otherwise, it's strictly the acting on Instagram. LinkedIn I signed up for, but I don't find it as user friendly. But no. Definitely the same feelings. I avoid politics. I avoid religion. And I even hesitate if I click like on somebody else's political statement. Yeah. I have done that, but I generally hesitate to do it. It's the same thing. I have benefited from, networking with other people. Absolutely. Through Facebook. I've actually gotten a few jobs through it. So
yeah, same here. Yeah, it's very important, because, not to interrupt you, Bob, I didn't mean to take your time, but, I myself, like you, which I failed to mention before, is I booked a few jobs off Instagram. People just happen to follow you, and they'll see you in either a TV show or in a play or whatever, or a movie, and they reach out to you. And I try to get back to people. Mm-hmm. Sometimes people are a little bit too pushy, but one guy just, got in touch with me, says, I like your work. Would you be interested in a film? And I did a feature film with him about 2 years ago. So, I mean, yeah, it is beneficial. I agree with what you're saying, Bob. You're 100%.
I have to take this opportunity to apologize to Keith. He reached out to me, sent me a Facebook friend request in 2020, and I just responded to him this year. But I do have kind of a good excuse. I was cleaning out a house of 30 years of accumulation and selling and moving to another state. So
Well, I just
I'm
hope
glad
I
I'm finally
wasn't.
here.
I hope I wasn't that guy you were referring to as being pussy.
No.
But one thing I would recommend for LinkedIn, because I'm always on LinkedIn, I have 2 profiles. My main one, and the same thing with Facebook, I have 2 profiles. You have your main one, and then you have your throwaway. Your throwaway, you can add, and remove whoever the hell you want. Because I used to do that on my main one, and then my account used to be locked. You're adding too many people. You're kicking too many people off. You're doing this. Like, fine. 2 separate accounts. Once I get to know you, like you guys, once I get to know you, you're going to be, and I talk with my hands, I'm not Italian, but, or it could be. But anyway, so you have your main one. It's like, okay, now I can add you to my main profile, and I know where you are. If I don't know you, you're going to be on the throwaway until you prove, not to sound like an asshole, you can prove that you're the real deal. Because you can say, on Facebook, I came across this, and a lot of people, they really need to regulate. Well, actually, that's the question I want to ask you. They should really regulate the internet. And let me explain what I mean by regulate. If you are a business, if you are someone like me who wants to grow a talk show, they're like you guys who are in the business or who want to network, and that's like business, professional, but that's okay. But if you're some idiot who wants to, ruin things, because on my TikTok, I'm a big wrestling fan. I have Mickey James, not the real one. I kind of wish it was. I have Mickey James following me on 6 different accounts, and all of them, by the time I click on it, 0 following, 0 this, 0 that. So that's why it should be regulated. You don't need role players. You don't need pretenders. You don't need people or hackers to screw around. If you're on here for a business and you're networking, you should have social media. Otherwise, you're just going to ruin things for everyone else. Uh-huh. And Bob, I'm going to start off with you. What do you think? Do you agree or disagree that the internet should be regulated?
In some way, I'm not sure how easy or hard that would be, but on Instagram in particular, I do get a lot of people that will start following me, and they'll have sometimes 0 followers themselves, 5, 6 people, no names that you can identify. You try and look them up on Facebook, they don't exist, or there are 20 other people with the exact same name. So you have to kind of figure that they're scammers of some sort, and I generally tend to ignore them. I don't follow them back. I've gotten pretty good at deciding, who is legitimate and who's a scammer. I mean, usually you can identify them pretty easily. Unfortunately, there are people that are taken advantage of by those same scammers. And I have gotten into a couple of conversations with people that seem legitimate at first, and then I find out that, the typical story, oh, send me $1,000 so I can finish school. Say, no, thank you.
Well, you actually brought up a good point, but I will answer it after Warren has his time.
Should it be regulated? Like, I agree with Bob. It's very hard to regulate something like that. I know people are trying to do it in certain ways. But reiterating what Bob said, is that you just have to be careful. You have to be just use your common sense and go with your gut, go with your feeling. When people, if someone friend requests me, I'll accept them first, and then I'll go and I'll look at them and see, like Bob said, if I have a couple of followers, I know it's nothing, and you just get rid of them. Or what I'll do is I'll hit them up, and I'll have a start conversation and see what they want and how they're talking. Do they really know who I am? Or they may say, oh, hey, I saw you on FBI or Gotham. Okay, let me listen. Okay, could be a fan. Let me listen. And then as you talk, but if you go with your gut, I would say 90% of the time, like Bob said, you get a feel now. It's almost like a game. In the beginning, everybody thought everybody was so honest, but as the internet has grown and social media has grown, there are a lot of bad people out there that take advantage of people. But just to in recapping and repeating what I said before, I think if you think it's a scam, like they always say, if it smells like a duck and walks like a duck, it's a duck. So just be careful in what you're doing. Don't give out any of your personal information at all to anybody unless you personally know them on a personal level. But you just got to, like everything else, you got to be careful with everything. You same thing as when you get these phone calls. Oh, if you want to get new car insurance, press it. Just hang up. It's the same thing.
Uh-huh.
No, I agree. Now we're going to do a special sit down with the Keith Andrew Network when we wrap up the show. So if you're watching, make sure to follow us on Instagram and TikTok. But the last question I want to ask, I actually forgot that, but let me ask you a different question. This question, invite, whatever you want to call it. I invite both of you to be a guest on my show once again, December 16th at 8 p.m. Eastern. I'm doing a holiday episode, and I would be honored if you guys could join us if you're available.
On the 16th, I have to get back to you on that because I may have something. Let me see, the 16th. That's Saturday, right?
Yes. And
I have to get back to you because I may be going into wardrobe for something, and I'm not sure. Well, Saturday I won't be in wardrobe, but I will get back to you. I'd like to. Yeah, I'm definitely interested. I appreciate the invite.
That was 8 p.m. Yeah, I'm free that time, so I'll put it on my calendar.
Perfect. Now, I do have a couple questions for you guys off the air, but we don't need. It's up to you. Do you want to do the sit down, or do you want me to ask you the questions now?
Go for it.
All right. So the questions I want you to be brutally honest, because you mentioned in the beginning about people being scammed. You don't know if they're real or not. So when I first approached you, both of you, to be a guest on my talk show, what made you say yes? How do you feel now, and would you recommend it? So, Bob, I'm going to start off. Warren, I'm going to start off with you. When I first approached you, what made you say yes?
Me or Bob? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Warren.
Okay. When you first approached me, obviously I didn't know who you are, so I vetted you. I looked you up. When you hit me with the message on Messenger, and then I just vetted you, and I saw some of the stuff you were doing, and I thought it was fine.
And Bob, what about you?
Yeah, pretty much the same. Like I said, unfortunately, your first message back in 2020, as people keep messaging me, it scrolls down to the bottom, and you lose track of it. But this recent one. Yes, same thing. I went on YouTube. I looked at a couple of your videos. I noticed you had interviewed a couple of people I know personally, and I was really impressed with your, technical expertise with putting your show together and everything else. So, I figured now's the time to get back in touch with you.
No, absolutely. And how do you feel now, and would you recommend it? That's for both of you. Whoever wants to go first.
Yeah, Bob.
Yeah, I would definitely recommend you. Yeah. You ask good questions, and you're very personable as a talk show host.
Yeah, I would definitely say. I would definitely recommend it. I try to support as many podcasters out there. I think it's a great thing. I think it's a great tool if it's used the right way, like everything else. But yeah, definitely. I mean, you're very personable. You're very polite. You're very professional. And like I said, and yeah, I definitely would recommend you to anybody that you get in contact with, or anybody who contacts you. Yes.
No, absolutely. Now stay tuned. I have a couple questions for you guys off the air. But wrapping up, this will be aired on YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook. If you're watching, definitely leave a comment. We would like to interact with it. But until we meet again, catch you later. Thank you, and have a good night.